Hi everyone, Macsen here. Welcome to my latest Endless Space 2 Let's Play. This time around I'm using update 2 of 3. There are 3 updates before the game's final version release. The game is currently in alpha, as you can see down here, but it is available to purchase via Steam, and you can play exactly the same version as I will be showing throughout the course of this Let's Play. There's been a number of new features added within this update 2. You can actually see one of them mentioned here in the scrolling text. The Horatio civilization have been added, which I can show you now if we come in here. So the Horatio gives you details about him here. Incredibly wealthy and only slightly less deranged, Horatio was a trillionaire who left to discover his own star cluster. Finding a planet sprinkled with labs of ancient cloning technology left by the Endless, the boredom soon drove Horatio to create a race of allies, servants and slaves who were every bit as gorgeous as the most beautiful person in the universe, Horatio. Once the planet was repopulated, Horatio I had only to look up, regard the stars, and realize how much more beautiful they, too, would be if they were filled with Horatio. The rest, as they say, is history. So Horatio, we're actually in the first Endless Space as well, and he's a megalomaniac or galactomaniac, if that's a word, and yeah, it should be pretty fun to play. I always found that the AI did particularly well with the Horatio civilization in Endless Space 1. I wonder if that would be the case in ES2. The affinities and traits are actually very reminiscent of Endless Space 1. Quite a few are actually pretty much identical. They do have Gene Hunter now though, which is new, completely new. So what happens with Horatio is he basically uses other races to augment himself and his clones. So you can steal their traits in effect, and I'll be showing that later on. The Gene Hunter there mentions they have a worse relation with other miners. And also, once you've spliced the genes of population, I believe it means that you have to pay more in food consumption to keep Horatio and his many other Horatios fed. The Horatio's traits themselves, they start with a bonus to approval, and since they have a dictatorship for a government, that's probably going to come in handy. They are also religious in nature, their political affiliation. The faction traits, they have crowded planets, which I believe is the same as it was in Endless Space 1. Perfect genes, so they have hero recovery rates on heroes. That's probably a bit rubbish, to be honest. You don't really want to be getting your heroes damaged in the first place. The content, so they can have more populations on systems. That should come in handy. And they have a price of their perfection. Their ships are more expensive, pretty significantly more expensive as well, so that's a pretty bad trait. They start with 2 technologies, rare earth foams and also off-world agribusiness. Now the tech tree itself has actually had quite a significant change within update 2, so I'll be showing that shortly once we got a game started. And they of course have all different ship hulls like all of the empires do. Right, for the actual settings, there are some things which have actually changed here. We now have 2 new types of galaxy shapes. I believe it's the Disk 4 and also the Ring Galaxy. I did actually do a couple of test games to try out those galaxies and the Horatio quickly. The other constellations were really far apart on Disk 4 map, so I don't think I'll play that one. I couldn't even find them actually, so I'm going to try a Ring Galaxy. It is a bit of an isolated start compared to some of those, but it's new, so yeah, definitely want to show that off. And the other settings, sadly there isn't a bigger map size than medium, and medium maps are designed for 4 competitors, so I'm going to stick with 4. Pretty much everything else I'm going to keep the default. I'm going to play on impossible difficulty again. I am a bit tempted to play endless, but I haven't tried it out yet, so it might not be such a great idea. But that's the difficulty I tried in the previous Let's Plays I did. The other option, something which is completely new. Well, I think there might be some things in here which are new, but you can't actually change that yet. Yeah, you can see you can muck around with that a bit, but I'll keep that to default. What is completely new is some of these victory conditions. They've actually been added now. Whether or not it's realistic that they could be won in various fashions, I don't know, because the tech tree isn't completed yet in its entirety, but they have been added. And yeah, there's probably some other new things here which I haven't realized or haven't had a good look at, but yeah, I'm going to keep this to default. The other settings, I'm going to have the United Empire as an opponent because we haven't had them yet, and the others I'll leave to random. We'll have a nice pink gorgeous colour for Horatio. Right, let's get started then. It's an intro video which we'll play now, and I'll be quiet while that plays and then we'll get started.
They only ever saw what was in the mirror. I always saw what was beyond. They saw deformity.
Look at him. That kid is scary.
I found beauty.
Stay away, weirdo.
They saw madness.
Cross the line and say
I found genius.
this is not a game.
For the longest time, I have been the only one who sees what lies beyond the mirror. But soon, very soon, they will see it as well.
Okay, so I really like that intro video for Horatio. Actually, all the videos for Endless Space 2 have been really good. Right, Army of Me. There's a introduction to the Horatio here. The Horatio tends not to dabble in the affairs of others, preferring to keep advancing their cloning and gene splicing technologies. One use for exotic peoples and creatures would be indeed to take their best features and integrate them into Horatio's DNA, so that all Horatio may benefit from what this galaxy has to offer. To learn more on these topics, click on Senate button or click on Manage Population button. Right, so I'm not going to read every one of these because some of them we've seen before in previous Let's Plays I've done for Endless Space 2, but the new ones I will read, and especially the ones that mention new features. Right, I'm just going to take a second to save the game and then we'll get started. Okay, let's check out our starting homeworld of Razum then. And it actually looks pretty decent. There's 4 planets I can see here, and one of them is even possible to be colonized already. Pretty important, and you actually get a decent starting system I found in previous Let's Plays I've done and previous games I played of ES2 up until this point. Right, so there's something here which I didn't actually realize existed in previous Let's Plays. I'm not sure if it did or has been added since, but there's a breakdown of events to shape the political affiliations of your civilizations. Right, the first thing I'm going to select to make here, I would like to get my food and industry up, but that's a huge amount of science actually for early games. I think I'm going to get that first, which I don't believe I've always done previously. Right, what else did it mention? I think it mentioned coming into the Senate screen, so let's do that. Army of Me. The Senate screen is where you can survey your beautiful people and what they think. Pay particular attention to the population census as it gives you an overview of the population composing your empire. If you click on a button Population and Genes, you will learn more about the Horatio affinity and what prowesses have already been accomplished by our master splicers. So let's do that, shall we? Army of Me. Before your eyes is the best way to learn about your people, Horatio, and the mongrel species. Know their political leanings and learn what types of bonuses they bring to our empire. You may learn what they could add to Horatio through the gene splicing effect screen, should you desire their advantages. Be careful though, gene extraction will require, and I think there's a grammar error here, and more individuals from a species to sacrifice their life with each subsequent splicing process. Ensuring a successful graft of foreign genes means collecting all available samples of a species. Put bluntly, it means cutting up everyone from a specific population. Worry not though, as our glorious empire will be stronger for it. For each population assimilated, our hunger grows more ravenous, so make sure enough food is available. Yeah, that is what I thought was the case. So once the decision is made to extract a population's genes, use the button Splice Genes to start the process. Glory awaits. Okay, and I thought that was enough of the text, but it isn't. I think this bit is actually mentioned in previous updates, so I won't read all of that. Right, gene splicing then. So you can see we actually start with a foreign population on our starting homeworld, and that's the case of every empire, I believe. So they are the Zavali, and we could actually carve them up and use them for gene splicing in a bit. You can see that it actually adds a bit of icon here to the user interface. We need 2 or 3 population now, I believe, before we can actually do that. So I have to grow the population a bit. And if we were to splice their genes into our own, then we would gain an extra science and an extra approval for our Horatio, for every Horatio. So our overall population would be better, but of course it mentioned we would lose all of the Zavali population, or whomever the foreign population happens to be. Something new within update 2 as well, you can see here that you actually gain bonuses for having certain population types. I think this is the case for every empire, though I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure though. So you can see if we were to get 10 Horatio, we would gain an approval bonus. 20 would result in extra influence, 50%. And actually the 50 Horatio would gain us twice as much influence on empire. And you can see if we have a certain amount of Zavali, we would get extra research, more research there, and even more research there actually. So yeah, each and every type of faction gives certain bonuses for having lots of population. That's a really nice new feature. But we're going to be gene splicing, so I doubt we'll have an awful lot of foreigners on our planets. Right, so with that mentioned, let's have a look at the overall galactic map, shall we? So it's a ring galaxy, and we start in the Aquarius constellation. So more than likely the other constellations are going to be around the ring somewhere. I'm going to have to try my best to find them. So with that in mind, I have a scout and a colony ship to start out, like every faction does, and they have their own unique names, of course, for the Horatio. So the colonizer is the beautifier, and the revealer is the scout ship. So where the hell am I going to be sending these? I think what I'm going to do with the revealer, I'm going to use a probe, and I'm going to send it up in that direction to actually find more systems, hopefully, that I might want to colonize. And I think I have one expedition left, so I'm actually going to use that on the colonizable planet here. I could have used both, but yeah, I wanted to find out what was in that direction. Okay, there's a ton more features added, which I'll be coming to shortly, but yeah, let's get some movement done. We found Dark Glitter Resource Deposit, and this actually triggered an event. So, as your fleet first graceful shoal orbits the system, a strange blip appears on the radar. Your crew watches in amazement as an ancient passenger ship of some bipedal species origin passes right across your fleet's sensors. Further scanning reveals that it is an antiquated generation ship, a sublight craft inhabited only by cryogenically preserved pioneers. Two choices: let them be, for more pacifist ideology, or interfere. I think I'm going to interfere. I think this is a new event, that's why I read it. I probably won't read all the events, especially the older ones. Okay, so let's move the revealer ship if I can up in that direction, but I think it's used all its movement. The colony ship, the beautifier, I am going to hope there's a decent colony down in this direction. Okay, well there is a colony down here, but it's not great to be honest. I'm not sure I'm going to colonize that. It's only one planet, which is medium Terran. They actually changed the planets a little bit as well in this patch. There used to be a lot more details here. Now there's not so much, and they've added teaming and meager options instead. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if it mentions here that it was Mediterranean world, for example. Yeah, I think Mediterranean might be a new planet type. I'm not 100% sure though, to be honest. Anyway, we've got new luxury type, which I won't be able to use for a while. The movement, that's actually got a bit of movement left. Let's move it in that. You know what, I think I'll move it there. It's quite a decent idea to colonize next to a world that you already have for various reasons, which I'll go into later. Most glorious, most gorgeous, let us beautify the galaxy together. You are Horatio, the Horatio of the Horatio. While your status as genius or madman may be debatable, your position as leader is not. Using powerful cloning technologies to alter your people in search of perfection, and with the image you see in every mirror as a roadmap to get there, it is your divine mission to beautify the stars, and this mentions all of the previous details we saw on the setup screen. Okay, each of the factions, oh actually, that's not what I thought it was going to be. We have a hero recruited. The quest doesn't start quite yet, that's coming up in a bit. So our hero happens to be Horatio as well, if I can get into the right screen. But he has his own unique name, it would seem. Ruffian-F11 Tighina. The Academy screen, if you've watched the previous Let's Plays, you know all about that, so I won't read that one. And let's take a look at this Horatio in more detail. So, let's inspect him. I could have him as a fleet commander, but as you can see from his stats here, the first two are basically means that, well, they are labor and wit, which is basically used on planets more than within a fleet, and those two are fleet skills. And he has much more governor-related skills, it would seem. 15 compared to 20 compared to 15. So I'm going to have him as a governor. Now, I think some of these might have been slightly changed, or new icons might have been added. All of Horatio's stuff down here is completely new. So it's split up into Horatio, generic skills, and the class type. This guy's a counselor. He has extra approval per original Empire population on system, and fleet health if I wanted to go down the commander route. I am going to pick up, well, that's quite a nice bonus, Horatio bonus there, extra approval and food, but I would quite like the production. Oh, I don't actually have any skills, so I can't do that. Right, let's figure that out later. I'm going to stick him on this planet though for the time being. Okay, so that's done. And I think I'm pretty much done for the turn, apart from select research. And here we get to have a look at the totally new technology screen, which if you played Endless Space 1, it may actually seem pretty similar to you. It's the previous versions that they had in the update 1 and previous to that were more reminiscent of Endless Legend, but yeah, I definitely like how this looks, and I'll be discussing all about it shortly. So technology screen. To help you in your great journey through space, you need to be ready to research different ways of solving problems, old and new. The technology tree is split into 4 main quadrants: empire development, science and exploration, military, economy and trade. Each quadrant is split into stages, the first 2 of which are accessible in each quadrant. You can unlock new stages in a quadrant by unlocking a sufficient number of technologies in the previous stages of the same quadrant. Secondly, xenology, and right, I think that's just mentioning what you should hope to go for early on, so I won't read that. Let's delve into this then, have a bigger look. So you can see, yeah, 4 quadrants here. Now many of the techs found within this tech tree are very similar, if not the same, to what they were in the previous updates. There have been some changes here and there, and new additions as well. You can see that all 5 eras are now available, whereas it was only 4 in the last update. But a lot of icons haven't been added as a placeholder icon, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more text added in future. But yeah, it looks very reminiscent of the system in Endless Space 1. So the Horatio started with 2 techs, and you can see them here. So it's rare earth foams, that gives movement bonus, and we can colonize Mediterranean worlds. It's a bit weird having a Mediterranean world in space, but I guess I kind of realised what it's trying to get at. Infinite supermarkets we also started with, and Xeno Synergy enables diplomacy with minor factions. So for the first tech I want to pick up here, what could I go for? Unlocking free movement wouldn't be a bad idea, and that would also allow me to colonize that world. That would take three turns. I think that's actually what I'm going to pick here. Now there are other hidden, well, arguably hidden things found within the tech tree. You can see here, if I research 2 within this era, it unlocks the 3rd era. And that kind of is how things work throughout the tech tree. You can see in the empire development bit over here, that's the same case. There are ships in this part of the tech tree, all come up here, and there's an actual Horatio logo there letting you know that it's faction specific. I think in future updates in the finalized version there are going to be faction specific techs other than ships, but they haven't been implemented yet. The combat side of things, it's arguably be quite a good idea to get one of these very soon, because it unlocks what does it unlock? It unlocks all of those modules for our ships, so I would only actually have to research 1 tech to get that, but I'm not going to do it quite yet. And we've got the tech and industry and trade and everything over there, but yeah, for now that's the tech I'm going to research. There are also now, if I highlight this, there are deeds and wonders found within this central part of the quadrants with these diamond squares here. So yeah, you can see there's a wonder there and one there. This one you actually have to research 10 curiosities, and if you do that before anyone else, you gain a dust bonus. So I may very well want to try and achieve that, but I also want to explore as well, so there's a price paid if you only research curiosities and not use probes. Right, I've talked for absolutely ages. Let's finally end the turn and get on a roll. Get things going. Okay, so probe moved up there. Let's move our ships. Colony ship has found a system with a couple of colonizable planets, and I got a feeling I'm going to be colonizing there. The revealer's completely out of probes, so I'm just gonna put it up in that direction. Is there a movement already? I don't know what's going on with that. Should be able to move. Right, with the colony ship, let's colonize a planet then. So let's have a look in greater detail here. So I probably want the world that has the most food, so it's going to be that ocean world. And yeah, let's bag that. Okay, into a foreign land. that mentions about outposts. Now, I'm not sure if this existed in previous versions, but you now get civilian ships that bring food from a colony to outposts, and it actually shows up on the map. It will show up next turn. I could, well actually I don't have any influence to, or money here to use to speed this up, but if I did, it would speed up significantly. This is going to take 24 turns. Actually, that's incorrect though. Once these come every turn, then that will be sped up more significantly, and since it's very nearby, it won't take too long. Okay, let's end the turn. Hopefully I'll be able to move that this turn. Okay, probe's getting up there. What the hell is going on with this? It doesn't have any movement. This is a bug. Let's... can I stick it in Hannah? Yeah, stick it in Hannah, and I'll bring it out next turn. Actually, might as well do an expedition in the meantime. Oh, hang on a sec, the movement came back. Yeah, something weird going on there. Let's... I think I'll send probe up there then. And come in that direction. Right. And let's end the turn. Right, that's the first noticeable bug I've found playing of this update. Right, new minor civilization discovered, the Tikkanen. Now these guys are new, I believe. I haven't seen them before in previous updates. So they are warmongers, and they have swarming infantry. So you gain, well, if you were to acquire these guys, then you could gain that bonus to your infantry. And it's a bit of a description there, which I won't read all of that, but it's pretty interesting if you want to pause and check that out. Okay, let's keep on going there. Right, this event, which I had earlier, has a follow-up. And I didn't know about this. That's one of the reasons why I picked the option I picked. So what I'm going to do is alter the course of this ship. Basically, it's on course to end up plummeting into a sun's atmosphere, I believe. So yeah, I'm going to help them out. That will give us 20 approval on our systems, which is actually huge because you gain extra science and dust based on happiness if you get over 71% and over 86% to become ecstatic, I believe. Now I think the actual amounts you get have been lessened in this update. It used to be more than that. It used to be 25%, but still well worth getting nonetheless. Okay, research. We've now got the ability for free movement and also to colonize savanna planets. So what's in the tech tree next? You can see there's some links in the tech tree as well. I believe, well, for example, let's have a look over here. This tech is the trading tech. So if we go to the one that's linked to it, it's also another trading tech. So you can probably only pick that up if you search that, I imagine. It would only be worthwhile if you research that one. And there's some red links here and there as well. For example, these are weapon types here. So they're both of similar type. Maybe that's why there's a red link between them. The actual tech I'm going to go for next, I could probably do with some industry coming up. So I'm going to pick this one here and also get the titanium. This is slightly changed since last update. You can see the new teaming feature there. Can't remember what it used to be. But yeah, planets didn't used to be teaming. I don't think Starting Homeworld is teaming actually, so I wouldn't gain a bonus from that, but I will pick it up nonetheless. But that's research done. Let's get the ships moving, or ship moving I should say. Sadly I only have one. The freight towards the outpost is here. If I can highlight this, you can see on the bottom left the details there. So we've got cargo of extra 23 food. And yeah, it's getting done in a quicker time now. The actual more food you have on the planet that is supplying the population, the better for getting up your outposts. So I do still have a bit left over to grow the population as well, which is great. Black hole has been discovered. Now I believe these features in the galactic map actually do different things now. It used to be for asteroids, for example, just production, but I think you can have science. Well, you definitely can have science bonus, you can see here. Also dust bonus as well. I'm not sure if there's any others, but that's a new feature. Right, there's a probe going up there. I assume that connects to that, and that looks to connect to that as well. So what I'm actually going to do is come down here with the scout ship. Now there's a colony there. I probably should get a colony ship on the go very soon. Let's end a turn first though. Okay. And we've actually got our main quest started for Horatio here. Come back to that shortly. The production, yeah, I think I might be doing a colony ship. And we found a new system, Polaris, and it's actually a special world here. The Endless Society developed on this large cool planet orbiting a star they call Prime, though it is the birthplace of this culture that dominated the galaxy for centuries. They were forced to depart when overexploitation destabilized the core and crust, triggering seismic changes. Though it's a treasure of artifacts and holds a near mystical reputation, its history is one of sorrow. Now I'm not sure if the special features have been implemented yet for the unique planets, but maybe we'll find out. So I'm sure I'm going to be wanting to colonize that soon. Okay, what I think I'm going to do now is actually design a colony ship, or redesign a colony ship. So let's come into the ship designer here. And I'm actually going to take off that engine module. I don't believe I need it. By getting rid of this, it will reduce the construction cost. So let's apply. I'm more than likely going to use a new colony to colonize that world and later that world. Actually, I could go to Pollux next. That may even be a better idea than Tikal. But let's stick in a colony ship here. That's going to take 4 turns. Now, I think at this point there's been so much reading and describing things that I'm over half an hour. So I'm actually going to call it the end of the video here, and I'll get into discussing this quest at the start of the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this first video of this Let's Play series, and I'd just like to thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, then I'd really be grateful if you were to leave this video a like or even share the video. If you do leave the video a like, it massively helps out my channel though, because it boosts my videos in YouTube search rankings, which is absolutely crucial for the benefit of my channel, for my channel to do well. Because if people can't find the videos, they tend not to get watched because I don't have tens of thousands of subscribers yet to rely upon. But I would like to thank my existing subscribers though, who do a good job of watching my new content when it comes out. You may want to consider subscribing yourself. That way that you'll also be helping me out, and also you'll know when new videos come out for this series or other series on a channel. And I cover a lot of other games that you may be interested in. For example, I did a recent Master of Orion Let's Play on hardest difficulty. That Let's Play, yeah, I was very happy how that went. And there's tons more 4X content, especially Space 4X, and even other genres of games I've covered as well. I've done guide videos as well as Let's Plays. If you have any comments or questions about this Let's Play series, then please use the comment section. Or if you just want to say hi, that's great as well. And I think that covers just about everything I wanted to mention here. The last thing I should mention is that I have a Patreon page. Patreon is a service that basically helps to facilitate donations between viewers and channels like my own. So if you want to help support the channel, if you want to see its continued existence for years to come and much more content like this, I'll be very grateful if you were to check out my Patreon page. And even more grateful if you decide to become a patron of mine. It basically takes thousands of videos watch time to equate to just $1 or $2 a month on Patreon. So yeah, I'd really be very, very grateful if you any of you were to become a patron of mine. And I'd just like to thank my existing patrons who have been a massive help. Right, that's it for this first video then. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.